Hi there. This last weekend I had an opportunity to sit with some old photograph albums and reflect on many of the stories of my own life. It was the real photograph albums, those big, thick, heavy ones here that sit on your lap with a serious weight of significance and pages and pages of memories. There's something about the page layout and the plastic laminate which really does stand out, and it's not swiping left or swiping right in an instant gratification of more modern day photos. I was also sitting with a Bodum of my favorite Bean There coffee, and amazingly this one comes from the Congo, and a part of the story is about a trip that I went to some years ago. Of all the photograph albums I could have chosen, I picked one out of the more than 50 that sit in our garage, and it was a photo album of a trip in 1997 to Uganda. We had also embarked on a small guerrilla-like foray into Zaire, and by the time we came out, our passports were stamped Democratic Republic of Congo. So it was not only the country that was going through a change, it was us as human beings having had these extraordinary experiences of both types of guerrilla, and both types give you a very different view of the world. But what stood out for me more than anything was the mantra that this particular group shared, and shared many times on other trips that we were lucky enough to go on. It was three simple words, but it was accept, acknowledge, and appreciate. Sometimes we had to just accept that things were the way they were. Delayed flights, closed roads, troublesome border duty guards, even the odd warm beer. Sometimes we had to just acknowledge those people that were helping us through these times. Amazing guides, incredible human beings along the way, and acknowledging our own place in the world. And when we stopped to appreciate, and we had to pinch ourselves at looking over mountain gorillas and avoiding the stare of the silverback, these were moments of intense appreciation. And these were kind of esoteric and ethereal feelings of energy that we felt at the time. And I found in my journey some research that really backs this up. The first one came from 1925. A doctor called Elizabeth Hurlock did an experiment with 4th and 6th graders around maths. Very simply, the first group were praised, the second group were criticized, and the third group were ignored. The findings the very next day was that 71% of those that were praised did better in their maths, by 71%, sorry. Those that were criticized only improved by 19%, and those that were ignored completely only improved by 5%. The second piece of research came from Simon Sinek's book, where he quotes a Gallup poll in 2013 called The State of the American Workplace. His book is called, one of his books, this one is Leaders Eat Last. It's a wonderful read. And he says that when our bosses ignore us, 40% of us actively disengage from the work. If we are criticized, 22% disengage. But if our bosses just recognize one thing that we're good at and reward us for that, only 1% of us actively disengage. And so maybe during these COVID times, these three words stand out once again. And they've left me with questions. Can I accept the weather of the way things are, not wish for the conditions of what they could be? Could I acknowledge the boat that others are also sailing in during these stormy seas? And can I appreciate that my craft is enough? And also all those who have helped me and who continue to help me sail through some very uncertain times. This week I received my first face-to-face booking for a facilitation in October. I can tell you my response was very simple. It was accept, acknowledge, and oh boy, do I appreciate. So this week I hope you find something and someone to accept, acknowledge, and appreciate, and have a great week ahead.